¡Compañeros! ¡Vamos a matar! ¡Compañeros!
The following film podcast frequently contains adult content, including foul language and descriptions of adult situations. Spoilers for the films discussed occur often. Listener discretion is advised. Now take it away, Dr. Rausch.
They must be destroyed on sight.
Welcome back to They Must Be Destroyed on Sight. It is episode 163, and I'm your host, Lee. Your mother is a prostitute, your father is a crook, and your grandfather is a man with a very broad buttocks. Russell. Joined by my co-host, Daniel. When you're about to die, don't ask so many questions, Harper. And joined by...
Good advice. Good advice.
And my other co-host, Paul. I generously spared your sister, Ramali.
Mm-hmm.
How are you guys doing tonight?
Yeah, that's a lie. I've never done that, ever.
You're not as much of a gentleman as Nero is.
No, I am.
When it comes to insulting someone's family.
I was going to say, it's Paul. In Swedish, we don't really care about that so much. Ramali.
Okay. So we're gonna be following up the Mercenary from last week. We're going to be looking at the sort of semi-remake, semi-follow-up, whatever you want to call it, again from Sergio Corbucci, and that's Companeros from 1970. But before we get into that, we do have a little bit of house cleaning to do, so we do have some comments here. Kai Clear came in on the Facebook group in response to our episode on the Mercenary, said, "Brilliant episode, thanks guys." So there you go, you're welcome.
Anytime.
Yeah,
we just produce genius every week. We're just happy you noticed.
Yeah, it's what we do. It's a genius factory over here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Jeff Williams comes in with his recommendation of the week, and he says this week it's The Night Visitor from 1971.
Nice film.
Max von Sydow is locked up in an escape-proof insane asylum for murder. That doesn't mean he can't exact revenge on those who put him there. A superior English thriller set in Sweden. The film features a great cast that also includes Trevor Howard, Liv Ullmann, and personal favorite Per Oscarsson. Okay, that sounds good. I assume you've seen this, have you, Paul?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have seen this.
Right on.
Because I watched it to another one. It was something like Night Visitor too, because I found this one first. And there was a Donald Pleasance film with the same kind of title, where it was a panther killing people. So I watched that one first. And then I was like, oh, what's this? Donald Pleasance. Fuck yeah. That was years ago, though. So I'll have to fast forward through it.
Yeah, this sounds like something we'll put on the list to get to eventually, yeah. So thank you, Jeff. And finally, we have a YouTube comment. What would an episode be without a YouTube comment? It just doesn't feel complete.
Is it from Greg?
No, it's not from Greg. It's from some...
Greg hasn't commented in a long time.
No. Yeah, but the problem is your tit level has dropped significantly, I've noticed, since future comments.
Well, I've tried to slim down a little, Paul. Thanks for noticing.
You look beautiful.
Yeah, great. Oh, you mean TNA on the episodes. Okay. Yeah, that joke just fell flat. Jasper Edwards posted on our episode 24 on YouTube.
Wow.
It was Ghoulies 3 and Ghoulies Go to College and Not of This Earth.
Oh, God.
So good. So
a great episode. A great episode. Clearly, this is going to be a really enlightening, nuanced take on our early work. I'm really excited to get this comment.
I have all those films. Well, I have a question. I've been so drunk lately. Was I even on that podcast?
No, you weren't.
No,
because I love all those films, and I don't think I talked about a single fucking one of them. So, but there you go, because lots of TNA on the house. So there you go.
You were too busy that weekend, I think.
I was busy probably with not getting TNA. So,
or maybe were you even on the podcast at that point? I can't remember. It's been so fucking long ago now.
That's actually quite a long time ago. Yeah,
I don't know if you were.
You did make a grave mistake one time and invited me. So, what was his comment, by the way?
Here's his comment. 2 words that just summarize just heaps of critical thought and really sum the entire episode up. Idiot clickbait. So
nice.
So yet again, another person on YouTube looking for either Ghoulies 3, Ghoulies Go to College, or Not of This Earth.
No, I'm gonna counter signal this a bit, Lee. I think he's describing himself. It's clickbait for idiots, that's
my thing is like, how is it clickbait when it says a review? It's a podcast reviewing these.
See, that's the thing, and this is before I got my shit straight and tried to organize how the titles read and stuff on the YouTube versions of these. I didn't even put the titles of the movies in the actual title of the video. It's just like episode 24, Sex Comedies Part 3 or something like that. It doesn't even have the titles.
That's definitely not idiot clickbait. You're an idiot if you clicked on it. You piece. I think
he's responding to the fact that the still I used for it was Tracy Lords in that fucking blue bikini, which is
I actually like her when she's scrubbing her ass and itching it in Not From This Earth. I think I like that. I like the ass scratch scene the best. That's
anything involving her ass in that film is pretty good. Congratulations, Jasper.
Hey,
you're
Jasper,
the idiot.
We know you're alive. Good for you.
Yeah, you're the idiot because you clicked on for something obviously much different than what you got. So fuck you.
Mm-hmm. I like to think that they were clicking on it for the spank material, and then once they heard our voices, actually they kind of got into it.
They hated themselves for it.
They typed the thing, idiot clickbait, and then were like, actually, these guys, they sound pretty hot over this still of Tracy Lords, and I'm into this.
You want to hear more, Jasper? It is fantastic. You want to hear us talk more and more about what the fuck was her name? The hot blonde chick from Ghoulies 3. Hope Mary Carlton. You want to hear us talk more about her dancing in her underwear and getting killed in the shower by a plunger?
I couldn't believe the amount of bush that was in Ghoulies Go to College. It was fantastic.
It was like a late period return to form for stupid sex comedies, I guess. But
loved it.
But yes, thank you all for your comments, especially you, Jasper. You made my night, you little bitch.
You're the best.
Mm-hmm.
I love how much content we get out of 2 words that somebody posted on YouTube.
Mockery is the best medicine. Okay, so we're going to take a little break. We're going to play some music from this excellent score for this fucking film and a couple podcast promos, and we'll be back with Companeros.
You ungodly warlock.
You're traveling through another dimension. A dimension of not only film and sound, but mind. A journey into an auditory movie review adventure that must be experienced to be believed. There's a signpost up ahead. Your next stop, the Doomsday Clock. You can extract the Witch versus the Doomsday Clock podcast by either searching for WYCH on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, SoundCloud, TuneIn, and on your Android device. Witch versus the Doomsday Clock is a proud member of Legion Podcasts. So prepare yourself. The podcast ice is gonna break.
You ungodly warlock.
All right, Companeros from 1970, also known as Vamos a Matar, Companeros.
Of all the heroes, renegades, and dirty low-down thieves the West has produced, none can compare with
Companeros!
Fate brought them together.
You're going to witness a classical squashing of the head! Church!
Greed made them inseparable.
Don't take your eyes off the sweet.
If you're nervous because you want to join us, then be my guest.
And violence made them Companeros.
Give me one single case where violence is absolutely necessary. Yours.
No violence! No riot!
How did you escape from there?
It was Marcia. She saved me from a nail that pinned my flesh to the tree.
How?
She ate off my hand.
Companeros, so unmatched, and yet they're matchless. The Companeros blow everything, including your mind.
In some markets. Directed again by Sergio Corbucci. Written by Ardinio Marari, Massimo Di Rita, Fritz Ebert, Sergio Corbucci, and Jose Frade. Also has some dialogue credits, but although he wasn't credited on the film with doing it. Starring Franco Nero as Jodluf Penguin Peterson. Here, instead of Tony Musante this time, we have Tomas Milian as El Vasco. Jack Palance is back as John. Fernando Rey as Professor Xantos. Iris Bourbon as Lola. Jose Baldo as General Mongo. Eduardo Fragito returns briefly, very briefly, looking kind of like, he looks to me like Raul Julia as M. Bison in the fucking Street Fighter film. He just kind of looked like him to me. As the Colonel. And Karen Schubert as Zarya. And the synopsis we have here, I pulled from IMDb from someone called Claudio Carvalho from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. In times of revolution in Mexico, the ignorant Vasco is promoted by the corrupt General Mongo to lead his men in the invasion of San Bernardino. Meanwhile, the arms trader Jolof Swedish Peterson arrives in the village to deal with Mongo. However, the money to buy the weapons is locked in a bank safe. The only man that knows the combination to open the safe that was not murdered by Mongo's men is the pacifist Professor Xantos, that is prisoner in Fort Yuma in the United States. Swedish offers to release Xantos, but the suspicious Mongo asks Vasco to go with Jolof. The twosome is chased by the followers of Xantos, led by the beautiful Lola, that want to convince the duo to join the revolution, and by the mercenary John that lost one of his hands in the betrayal of Jolof to save his life and used his smart hawk Marcia to get Xantos to deal with Mongo. That's all one fucking sentence that lasts a little bit. Yeah. You might want to have broke that up a bit, but it kind of covers the plot.
Just run on with it.
They have not quite invented periods in Portuguese, so I think that's kind of the language.
Well, that's just fascism for you.
That's what happens when you live on the Iberian Peninsula, you know.
Hey, one of these days, the United States will liberate the entirety of South America, and then
don't fool yourself. It's going to be Canada.
I already feel liberated.
I feel the giant swelling attack coming every day, and I cry a little.
It's all right.
It's okay. Lee is a power to be reckoned with.
Well, we'll cuddle afterwards. That's good.
As long as we get a cuddle, I'm fine.
So, like I said, this is
military intervention always comes with a cuddle. That's the lesson that film.
I would say this film lacks the cuddles, and I kind of wanted some cuddles. I'm just saying.
It's got a bit, It's got a bit.
So, getting into it, Paul, what's your sort of general impressions of this one?
Loving it. I like the fact that it didn't exactly play out the way I thought it would with certain aspects of the film, but it played out better than I thought it would. So I'm definitely liking this. Of course, Jack Palance is in this film. I'll talk about him a little bit later. But other than that, great film. Great film. I think this is probably, I don't want to sound like a dick tool, but I really, really like Nero in his performance in this film. And I just think the way he played everything was really great.
Daniel.
Agreed. I really enjoy this. This is the less serious, more kind of fun and games version of The Mercenary. It's got a little bit less of a kind of overt political tinge, but it's still got a little bit of that going on. It's definitely got a more straightforward plot. I love Jack Palance as the villain. He's got this like sliminess that's just all through the film. I just love how he just feels like he almost feels like a wax figurine who's like kind of going around and doing terrible things. I love the revolutionaries. I love the just the kind of basic storyline. I don't know. This was just kind of a pure like kind of fun movie. It does have some interesting stuff in it. It does have some kind of cool political stuff, but that's definitely backgrounded much more so than in The Mercenary. And really enjoyable, great performances. One I will definitely be revisiting.
I like the fact that there's a lot of comedy aspects to this film that you wouldn't normally see in a lot of other ones.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of dark comedy in this.
Yeah, absolutely.
My favorite moment in the film is, when they do the close-up shot on the bird. What are we going to do with the hawk? And then, like, pull back, bird over a flame. Yeah, roasting it. Like, well, that's the end of that bird.
And then Professor Xantos is like, that bird was almost smart as a person. And then he's like, no longer tasted like shit.
Yeah.
And then the professor's like, well, at least I can feed him to my turtles. So, my turtles won't go hungry. I was kind of thinking there's like a Master Splinter vibe in that scene, like, oh, I'm gonna,
But yeah, this is very much. I'm sure some people push back on this, but it really is basically just a retooling, a remake of The Mercenary. I mean, the plot is almost exactly the same, just with some slight tweaks. The comedy is much more prevalent, both dark comedy and just sort of silly sort of shtick and stuff like that. Like, there's some goofy moments here. I think, man, just putting Tomas Milian in this improves it about 100%. I'm not trying to shit on Tony Musante, but I think Milian is just a way better performer when it comes to balancing the comedy and the action. Like, he's not as an over-the-top performer, I think, as Musante was. So it's a little less clownish, a little bit more serious.
There is a gag there, just because he literally wears clown makeup during a big chunk of.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I wasn't even intending that, but there you go.
Wow.
He sort of pulls off this funny little Che Guevara look with his beret, going on. Nero in this, I think he's better in this than in The Mercenary. He's even more willing to show his ass, basically, in this one, as in, getting his butt handed to him and being in trouble more often. Like, he's even more of a schemer in this one, but
he's less evil, but more of a schemer in a weird way.
Yeah. I
think that's probably why I like it so much, because he just seems like he has that kind of human side, but he has that one hand up, but he still gets his ass handed to him, too.
You see him here literally in the same position that we saw Tony Musante in The Mercenary, where he's buried up to his neck in sand at one point, and they're supposed to stomp him into paste with a bunch of horses coming over him. Again, you get Franco Nero with a fucking machine gun in this. I mean, it's just Corbucci has to put a machine gun in fucking Franco Nero's hand.
He has to give Franco Nero a machine gun.
Yeah. If you can't give Nero a rail gun, there's something going on. You have a problem.
If only Franco Nero had played Rambo, that would be the ultimate. If only Corbucci had directed that, then the entirety of the 80s
if Nero could have been in Predator when they mowed down the jungle, this could have been better.
Fucking Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger, you hacks! Fucking just totally ripping off Franco Nero in this. Fucking Palance is fucking amazing in this. Like, I think he's even he gets more to do in this than he does in The Mercenary. Even though he's introduced later in this film than he is in The Mercenary, he still gets more to do. He's like right up to the end in this one, basically.
I forgot he was in it at first. He shows, Jack Palance is in this. Right,
yeah.
Right.
Well, I didn't know he was in it when I first started. I was like, shit, I missed the film with Jack Palance. I'm like, oh, there he is.
Yeah,
It's one of those kind of
I love how
things.
we're all saying Palance. It's Palance, but we're all.
I say
whatever.
Palance. I've said Palance. Well, the thing is that I've heard his name ever since I was a kid because he's from here, and it was always Palance. So everyone just said Palance, not Palance. I don't know why, but
I don't care what I don't care what it is. He's dead. What's he going to do about it?
I excuse my pronunciation. I'm sorry.
He's dead. He's not going to do anything about it. But
Palance, P-A-Lance, that's a Pennsylvania penis, is kind of what I gather.
I lance lots of bitches, usually when they're sleeping or dead.
Page and Court psyops. You need a friend. How much more evil could they make him, though? They try to make him, like, visually so over the top, but again, his performance is, like, really reserved. Like, he's literally got a wooden hand and a fucking hawk or falcon that he has on it.
Well, and he's high off his tits the whole time, too.
He's got a fucking pouch full of fucking joints that he opens at one point. He's like got like 100 in there. He's just constantly smoking.
I don't know if I think would you say that probably he did this himself and not the actor, the director, but like when he scratches his wooden hand and stuff like that. Like I think he did that himself.
I think he had a lot of fun doing this role. Like he looked like he was having a lot of fun, and it's like I've seen some of those kids, the way those stoners look. I'm going to get a chance to try those expressions on film, and so he's constantly got this like half squinting grin going on throughout the entire film, and he's always sweating. So he's like right out of Reefer Madness or something like that, you know?
Yeah. I like the fact that every character has its own little moment in the sun and interacts with every other character in the film, no matter how they're kind of put in. It's just a really well-written script that I was not expecting how well-written this is going to be.
That's true. Like, Palance here, again, he gets more to do. Like, he gets to, interact more with Nero and Milian, whereas in The Mercenary, although he does have a beef with Nero in that as well, he's pretty much just put to the side until right near the end where he has that showdown with Musante in the bullfighting ring. But yeah, here he's active right up to the end, and he's constantly like poking his nose in where it doesn't belong. And so he's really good, and I don't know if there's as many twists and turns in this as there are in The Mercenary, but there's still like a lot of different parties like moving around and interacting with each other, but it's very easy to follow.
It got compared to, like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly a little bit, and some of the, where you've got this kind of trio of characters with kind of different motivations. This, I sort of get that, but this is much more like straightforward than a lot of those other kind of movies.
Yeah.
It's really like, for the most part, Nero and Milan are kind of working together, even though they're kind of have different motivations and they're not necessarily buddies, but they're mostly working together. And then Palance is kind of like on the outskirts of everything, and the real main antagonist is really more, like just the environment they're in, and then sort of the general is kind of more the big bad that they're really fighting, and it seems it's kind of highlighting just that there are different factions, the different kinds of kind of people all kind of fighting each other, and they make kind of temporary alliances, and the Mercenary is great, but you really do have to kind of sit down with it almost with a notebook to kind of like follow along with all the different stuff. This is much more streamlined, and it makes it I'm not kind of shitting on either one. I'm just kind of saying it's streamlined, and it's a much more
more
Hollywood
cohesive
kind of version.
Yeah, it is more cohesive. It's easy to follow, and I think that's one of the reasons why I like it, because I'm kind of stupid. So that works out pretty well. But no, I definitely kind of, it was easy to follow, and I do like how it is kind of a buddy movie, even though maybe it wasn't meant to be feeling so much of a buddy movie. You expect like some weird like I actually like you even though I fucking hate your guts kind of moment, and I like that. You know what I mean? Especially after they beat the fuck out of each other, and they look at and the professor's gone. He's like, fuck, he ran away.
Yeah, you can tell they get along really well, and it's like Nero and Milan were lifelong friends. Milan died in 2017, I believe it was. But this is the only film they worked together in, as far as I remember. And kind of the reason was that they were both kind of at the top of their game at that point, and they were actually kind of competing against each other on the film.
Yeah, right. Although they were friend does.
They were getting along, but at the same time they were fighting on the film too. And also Nero had problems with Corbucci. Apparently he was a little temperamental, that Corbucci was focusing on Milan instead of him as far as the filming goes. But that's all behind them now anyway. But
there was a little prima donna action.
There was. They were both, top actors in the Italian international markets, whatever, and they were both kind of getting in each other's way, basically, because Milian's more of a he's more of a method actor than Nero is, and so that kind of thing can tend to rub other actors the wrong way when it feels like the guy's being pushy when he's just like being in character and shit like that, So like there's a scene here where Nero's character is being hung and he's on the verge of, losing his footing and going to be straight up hung and die. And Milian's character is fucking with him, sort of teasing him and taunting him. A lot of that was improvised, like where he kind of fish hooks his eye there a little and tugs on his mustache and sings that song. He just made that up right on the spot. And apparently Nero wasn't too happy with it afterwards. He's like, we need to reshoot this. And Corbucci was like, fuck that. We're keeping it.
No, it was gold. Fuck you. We're keeping it.
It's a great scene. It's you really get the antagonism there. You really get the kind of, I'm going to come get you, but I'm going to, make you suffer for a little bit first.
The thing is, it wouldn't have made sense if he didn't string him along. It wouldn't have made sense because you have your nemesis in a bad spot. You have to fuck with him. You do. Like, I don't understand. Like, I don't even understand why someone wouldn't write a fuck with him scene into that at all. And they didn't. So I'm glad he put it in because it just wouldn't have been as good. It was kind of like when the train came. Oh, don't Marshall will tell us when the train's coming. He went, train. I was like, pretty sure you probably hear the train. Fuck that.
Yeah.
Thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
that was weird. I think you can just sort of put that to the character that Palance is playing there, where he's just so stoned out of his mind that he believes that he can talk to his falcon, It's like, I think that's really what it is. He's just so deeply stoned all the time that he believes the falcon's talking to him, and he can talk to the falcon's like, "Oh, Marcia will tell us when the train is coming." It's like, no, you fucking fool! You're gonna hear the train from like a couple miles away because it's the only thing fucking making noise.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just kind of funny like that. I don't know. There's a little moments that seem a little silly. I like for instance, Nero's epic dive off the bridge 17 seconds before it blows the fuck up.
He ran pretty fast across that bridge after he blew it. Yeah. No, the action in this is way better than in the Mercenary. Like it's much more intense, I guess is the best way to put it. There's that scene in the end there where they finally catch General Mongo or whatever. Where Jack Palance's character, he's up in the tower with his men and they're getting ready to fuck Professor Xantos's shit up and all this stuff, and then they just have this big confrontation, and fucking Nero and Milian just fuck people up. They bring up the squib work in this one that they didn't have in the Mercenary, where you see blood everywhere, fucking squibs exploding, fucking Milian is stabbing motherfuckers with a machete.
Oh my god. Yeah, you have to understand, like, once they blew up the tower with everybody in it, I'm pretty sure I had like 6 mangasms that whole fight. Because he brought a knife to a gunfight and kicked shit. Like, I was like, I'm loving it. I'm fucking loving this. Like, especially when like Nero was behind the wall and the guy shot, he ducked and then came up and shot the fucker. I'm like, I'm having a moment now.
You have that quick cut montage of all of like Mongo's men, all their faces where they just go in pain being shot. You don't, so you can say them on squibs. You just have to show them being shot. You probably see the same guy 4 or 5 times. I don't know. But it helps that it's that fucking title song, Companeros,
which is a great song. Song, yeah.
It is absolutely fantastic.
It just starts playing as soon as the fucking scene starts, which is just it just works. Just works so well.
I love that torture scene in the middle of the film
where he puts the rat
gerbil.
Yeah, or gerbil or whatever it is.
Gerbil, like, I was like, that's like a hamster or a gerbil, right? Like, that's not a rat.
Oh wait, did they paint that thing black to make it look more like a rat? Did they?
I think they actually got a black gerbil, but I was like, because I've seen a couple books and it was like torture through the ages, and one of them is when they take the rats and put it in the cauldron, they slice your belly a little bit, and they put fire, like charcoal, on top of the cauldron to make it hot, and then the rats burrow through your stomach and out through your mouth. It's something they did in England a lot. And I'm just like, that's a guinea pig, isn't it? I'm pretty sure it's a guinea pig. Like, look at that.
I was thinking it was a prairie dog or something.
No, it definitely wasn't a prairie dog. Prairie dog looks like a very elongated, kind of like what's the thing from Africa that kind of peeks out of the well, not like from India, like a mongoose. They're a little bit longer. That's not a prairie dog. I was like, that's a fucking gerbil. You're just putting that gerbil in there. Like
I think a starving gerbil. I wouldn't necessarily want that to dig through my.
I don't want any rodents on my dick.
Yeah, well, it was on his belly. Let's just say it was on his.
That basket was definitely like kind of right there on that midsection to where it depends on whether it's easier to cut through the belly or to go a little bit further south. Honestly, I was kind of like, it didn't seem like it was on there that firmly. It seems like the thing would just kind of scurry out through the side rather than through your ears. But
it's movie magic.
Maybe the gerbil was hungry. Maybe it was gay. One or the other.
The only gerbil I want on my dick has to have a lot of duct tape.
It could be
the guts out of its mouth when you. Never mind.
To be fair, Lee, it could be a female gerbil. And
could be. So it could be. I'm not assuming the gerbil's gender. Okay, let's keep it at that.
It's having sex with me. Penguin!
Well, at first it seems like he's being tickled, and then finally starts screaming.
I love that because it would tickle like a motherfucker. So I like the fact that it went from ha 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 like good scenes when people break down in movies. They start getting a little funny and weird, and the next thing you know, they start screaming. Like Evil Dead 2, wasn't it? He started like laughing and stuff, and then
he goes
screaming.
Insane.
He goes insane. Love that kind of shit. Very very good.
So what do we think of Iris Bourbon as Lola here? I think pretty good, all things considered. Pretty good.
Good.
She gets
I wouldn't say she's remarkable or anything standoutish, but what she did do was very well.
Well, compared to what's her name, Giovanna Rowley from Mercenary, she gets more to do. I think in this one,
she gets more to do, but she's got less of a presence, and that's just kind of the unfortunate thing.
Well, the thing is,
she's also only like 18 years old at the time.
Oh, she looks so young. There's a close up. There's a close up of her at one point where I'm like, she could be 12 years old. Like, there's.
Yeah, I mean, once they give her the pixie cut and she's like carrying around a machine gun, like, okay, or a rifle or whatever. It's like, yeah, no, I buy that now.
I'm into it.
I will give her something though. The thing is though, she's very. The thing that works for this film, I think, is when she does do the action, it speaks more because she has been quiet. Like that scene where she blows the general away and they look at her and she's like, "Yeah, fuck this." I was like, "Oh, that's tough. That's tough."
Well, even like the students, who are sort of like they're revolutionaries by necessity rather than by the other, the people that were following around through the movie are kind of like people who kind of got into violence because they did it by profession.
Right.
And when you see the professor and you see like his students and the this kind of like practice nonviolence, and yet we have the there's a real like reality to that.
Definitely like to say two things on that score. There's some of those were fucking Asians. I don't care what anyone says. There was like 2 or 3 people. I'm like, you fucking Asian. You're not Mexican, you little bastard.
Anyway, I think I know who you're talking about too. You're talking about one of Palance's goons there with the
no, the students. So 2 of those motherfuckers were definitely Asian, But you have to get so many people. But I was like, you little son of a bitch. But I love the fact that like
there may well have been like Chinese immigrants in like California in 1910. Like
hey,
Paul, we know what Shanghai Joe could fucking do. So
don't fuck with Shanghai Joe. He will literally pull your eyes out with his fucking hands. This guy's no fucking
exactly.
joke.
We've already covered one.
But I look at every little detail and like want to be like, oh fuck you. But when the student is literally speaking truth and fact and just the way he is and frustration to the doctor about we have to use violence when it's necessary because of certain things, and the doctor's saying about we can't use violence solves nothing. He hits the fucking student. That's violence, you fucking hypocrite, you piece of shit.
Well, like, I think
that's violence. I'm sorry if I get hit. That's violence. I just got.
Well, no, and here's the thing. I agree with you, Corbucci.
I'm so sorry.
We were talking about in the Mercenary where Corbucci was politically motivated in the way he was doing the film, and he's definitely the same here, but lesser so. He was more optimistic in the Mercenary. Here, it feels like some of this stuff's influenced by sort of like the student rebellions and stuff in Europe at the time.
Right.
And by the time that this comes around, they've mostly kind of petered out and not really done much. And I think Corbucci kind of soured on some of the ideals behind them a little bit, or at the very least is reflecting the fact that some of them failed in the way that the things happen in this film. So you
can't look at Latin America like student revolutions and student revolutionaries in the 70s and not, or in the 60s and 70s, and not think like, yeah, this is a mixed bag. This is a mixed bag, you know. But
it definitely feels like a little bit more fatalistic viewpoint at this point coming from Corbucci. Although I think also when we get to the end of the film, there's definitely some sort of bright spots like honor and truth and even fighting for a lost cause. The end of this
film pays off so fucking hard. Like, I don't know, everything about the end of this film was like, you know what? This is better than I ever thought. Oh, it's so good. Like, it was one of those moments where I was like, you know what? This was 2 hours long. 2 hours well fucking paid. Thank you. Thank you very much. It was one of those.
Well, yeah, so Nero in The Mercenary, his character, is a cynical guy who's in it for himself to the end. He learns to respect Tony Masante's character enough and be a friend with him, but he's still off to, you know, seek profits and stuff like that, you know. And in this one, Franco Nero's character actually does the full turn where it's like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to die with these people.
Well, I did get the, oh, fuck, I need help, run. You know what I mean? Like, if the army was not there, he would have kept going.
I don't know about that.
I
think he could have. I think he could have avoided the army because they're on a singular path. Like, we're going here to kill these rebels.
At the same time, he was warning the people that he made friends with.
But I think the point at the end is that he realized that his friendship with Tomas Milian's character and these people actually means more to him in the end. Like he kind of saw how futile it was to like try to scrape some pennies out of this whole fucking endeavor.
Well, I definitely love the duel scene between the two, and they realize I'm going to help him before I help myself. I mean, that was already said and done. Like, that was already, like, knitted by that point in time. But at the same time, I go, you little fucker. You probably, I don't know, you would have turned around if you, like...
Well, I think the look on his face kind of signifies that, shit, these guys are going to die. And...
Well, he definitely had a shit face. Like, he was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
And then
I mean, I don't think they would have saw him. Like, he was high up on like, some hilltop, and he saw them coming, and, he could have gone any direction and avoided them.
Right.
But
he definitely didn't just try to save himself. I agree with there. Like, he went back to warn the others and run for his ass, but to help other people. It was good. It was just great. It was great.
And if I'm not mistaken, it's been a long time since I've seen this film, Daniel. But and we talked about it a little bit in the Mercenary episode. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Isn't the ending like somewhat similar? Where
where it's the two of them. Spoiler alert for Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Oh no.
The two of them have spent years in South America, kind of being bandits and revolutionaries, etc. And in the end, they're surrounded by the federales or whatever, and they go out guns blazing. I mean, it's very clear that Corbucci was both a fan of that film and also had some things to say about some of the because that is definitely not a film that really has the the kind of weight that I think Corbucci's work does. As much as I like Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, I think it's a really well executed film. Anyway, I love everything about the safe in this film. Like, I was,
I agree. It's great.
I was really on board with this, where it's like, oh, we got to go get you bring in Nero. Like, he glances at the safe and is like, yeah, this is German engineered steel, etc. So there's no way to get into this. Like, there's no way to get into this. It's like you need somebody who knows the combination. So, like, basically, have you left anyone alive? And the general's like, yeah, no, we killed everybody. Oh, great. So, you didn't. So the general, not very good at his job. all right, so now you got to hire me to go find this one guy who has the thing, and then I have to go and, grab him, etc. And then the whole movie is just bringing him back to the safe, and then finally they get there, and what's in the safe? Just a metaphor for socialism. And I'm like, yes!
No, and I like that too, but I like the fact that like Nero purposely did this to get the general out of the way. Like he did this purposely. Okay, you're my one foe that's going to take some of this shit. I'm going to make sure you're dead. Then I'm going to sneak away because I have the combination all the time. And then I was like, oh, what the fuck's this shit? Oh, yeah, socialism.
And here's the thing. You got one little piece wrong, Daniel, and this is even funnier, I think. It's not a German safe. It's a Swedish safe.
Oh, it's with German safe. Metal.
Right.
So, steel,
General Mongo. Yeah, General Mongo is like, here's the logic. Hey, the Swede is Swedish. He might know how to open this safe.
Exactly. Right. That's why, because he's Swedish. So the Swedish safe with the German steel.
I forgot the detail. Yeah,
it's like I'm Canadian. I know everything about maple syrup and hockey.
But you do.
I know nothing about either of those things, other than hockey is boring and maple syrup is sweet. That's all I know.
Yeah. All I know is
that's all you need to know.
Yeah.
So I have to
the ball to the end of the yard line. In hockey.
So if we ever need to get hockey sticks out of maple syrup, I have to go and capture fucking Trudeau's kid and bring him back to.
You got to go grab Wayne Gretzky, bring him back.
Wayne Gretzky, yeah, he's old now.
You missed a good point too, because you're supposed to ride a moose the whole time when you do it. See, you fucked that up.
Oh, I mean, I can do that.
Yeah,
I mean that was already a given.
I figured.
That's just something you're born knowing how to do in Canada, right?
Yeah, it's like I'm from Berwick, so I already know how to make meth. Like
I'm not from Berwick.
No, because you don't.
Oh, that's right. Meth. You have a Berwick too. Yeah, I have a Berwick. There's meth in your Berwick as well.
Yes.
It's 2019. There's meth everywhere.
And actually, let's be honest. It's actually because I'm from England. It's pronounced Berwick.
Yeah, but
no one says that. We all say Berwick. Let's be honest.
But you're colonials, and we're Commonwealth. Lapsed Commonwealth.
But you knew what I was saying, so go fuck yourself.
Yeah, no, it's Berwick. It's Berwick. Yeah, that's what we call it. So and there is meth in Berwick here.
Yeah,
just saying. They just recently got their one traffic light. That's how good that town is.
I will say that I've always been on the ropes with Jack Palance or Palance.
Oh yeah, you have history with him, so I'll let you elaborate now.
I've had dinner with him many times when I grew up, and I didn't know it at the time, but we always we always went to the Lookout House restaurant on top of Drums Cunningham Mountain, and he was born in Hazleton, but he is from the Drums Cunningham area. He lived there a long time with his brother when he was passing away, and apparently growing up, I actually had dinner with him a few times in the same restaurant. He was a absolute prick. Where if you even said, "Oh, Mr. Palance or Palance or whatever, I really like your work," or just I hope you're having a nice day. Like, I'm a fan of this and this. He would berate you and basically try to threaten to kick the fuck shit out of you for anything, just to talk. Even if you talk to him, he was like that. He was a bitter old man, and I remember talking to the waiter, because there was an old waiter that was there forever. He finally passed away, obviously, but I was like, yeah, growing up, I never knew this. And he's like, oh my God, yeah. Like, if you talk to him today, he would try to kick the shit out of you. I'm like, I'd like to see him try. That would have been funny. But at the same time, he just but he was mean for no reason. He was one of those guys.
He might have had a reason, because you were probably pronouncing his name wrong.
Well, no,
everybody in your local area was probably pronouncing his name wrong.
Just, I understand. I get that. But the thing is, he was just apparently he was nice to the waiter because the waiter had to wait on him, and he didn't want him to spit his food. But other than that, he was just a very I'm here to be alone, be me with my brother. But even before that, but I was like, oh well, I'm not really a big fan of that guy then. It was one of those things. I liked his work, though. I liked his work. I've never.
Yeah, no. I honestly, I kind of go on the side of him saying "fuck you."
Honestly, if I said hello to him, I really wouldn't want to get threatened to get my ass kicked. Like that is not good. Even if I did, he would just say, even just people that said hello to him, they're like, "Oh, hello. I hope you're having a good day. Fuck you. I'll kill you." I was like, what? Like, okay, well then we're gonna have a fucking fight. Like it's gonna be happening now. Like it's one of those. I don't know. Like so, I've always been on the ropes with him. It's one of those kind of things. Because I hate people. I don't know if you know this about me, Lee.
No, I've never really gotten that from you.
He never got that. But I've never threatened to beat the shit out of someone that said hello to me. It's one of those weird things.
Well,
Jack Palance's real name is Volodymyr Polinick.
There
what
you go.
The fuck? See, it doesn't matter what we call him.
He's Ukrainian.
He's Ukrainian. Yeah, he's Ukrainian.
Yeah.
I think Charles Bronson was Ukrainian in descent as well, if I'm not mistaken. But
well,
I mean,
and all those Slavs are pieces of shit anyway.
Well, of
yeah,
course.
this is the way we want this podcast to go.
Yeah. No,
I'm joking.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. I'm gonna go on the side of Palance here. I'm not gonna go by the hearsay of a bunch of locals who want to shit on the celebrity. As far as this is what this sounds like to me.
I've never heard anything negative about him other than that from anybody. They all
so you gotta. Maybe that establishment just, attracts some bad people. But
that's actually the highest class place in the place. It's very high class.
Well, that tells us where. I buy that completely. Yeah, Charles Bronson is Charles Dennis Buczynski. He's Lithuanian.
Lithuanian. So you're same thing. Same thing.
So they should like fight each other.
Yeah, they should. They're European. They hate each other. It's the same thing.
I mean, Jack Palance died in 2006. So, how old were you when you heard these stories? How old were you when you were having dinner? Like, explain to me I'm really interested in this. Like,
I started going to dinner there when my mom and dad used to take us there for special occasions ever since I was 6 or 7.
So you never had dinner with Jack Palance. You just
apparently
had dinner in the restaurant where he was.
Not with him in the room.
So
they know he's there. We like.
You grew up hearing stories about the famous actor who's really an asshole.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't want to get spit on by you right now, Daniel. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry I brought it up at all.
No. I mean, I'm just trying to get this in context.
To be fair, though,
I completely believe that he's an asshole. I have no doubt that he was an asshole.
So sorry for bringing that up.
No, not at all. I think I always love these kinds of stories. I'm just trying to piece this together.
To be fair, Paul is significantly younger than both of us, by the way. Just saying.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So the timeline does
I
work.
have been personally going there by myself for dinner since the late 90s. So I'm just saying, I don't know. And I know he died in California or something like that after his brother passed away. Which is
per
sad.
Wikipedia, he died in Montecito. So
yeah, I'm sorry about his brother. It's when people get sick, it sucks. And he could have been suffering through depression and stuff because of that. Who knows?
Well, I hope you feel bad now, Paul.
I don't ever feel bad about anything, Lee. I have raped and killed many people, and I don't feel bad.
All right. So, final thoughts.
But I have never ever told anyone I would fight them because I said hello. So there you go.
I believe that. Yeah. I really like the professor character. I just want to highlight.
No, I like him, and he's frustrating at the same time. He's
I really like the way he kind of becomes the heart of the film to a certain degree, but the film is not there's no way that a open communist making these kinds of films is actually in support of overt pacifism in this time period. That's just not, the film is not in favor of pacifism.
Well,
the character maybe,
I was doing a bit of reading on him too, Corbucci. From what I can gather, he definitely had Marxist leanings, but he wasn't a diehard devotee as well. So we need fucking Jack Graham to straighten.
I was doing the lowercase c communist.
Yeah.
No, oh my god,
the USA version of communist. You commie fag. That kind of thing.
There's no way that someone with an awareness of Latin American revolutions was actually a pacifist. It's kind of that just doesn't go with that ethos, And I think that some of the stuff that Paul is highlighting about, we don't believe in violence, but I'm going to kind of smack you and kind of it's intentional. The film is doing it intentionally.
Yes,
it's not a kind of a slap at the film to say that that's something that's happening.
But at the same time, they still did he kept his ideologies, I guess you'd say, to the end, even though he was using the threat of violence, but not the intention of violence to bluff John at the
Yeah,
end.
he was
You know,
trying to-
and I think you could arguably say that, like, well, if you'd had some ammunition there, maybe you could have saved some lives, saved
Yeah,
your
you
own
could
life, and done more.
maybe
I mean,
good.
I think that's a legitimate like reading of the ending of the film.
One of the best lines on as far as the revolution of pacifism, which would do nothing, and essentially, the one student really did. I mean, it sounds. I don't want to be a dick, but like he basically highlighted. He said, he goes, "Oh, we'll all be pacifists until they kill us all, and then we'll lose." And I'm like, "Yeah, you win. There you go. You just nailed it right on the head."
Yeah.
He's like, "We're just going to wait until he kills us all off with us being nonviolent, and the next thing you know, we're all dead, and our message dies with us." I was like, "Yeah,
well, the film shows what happens to people who, like right at the beginning, there's a voting line in the beginning of the film where people are coming up to Eduardo Fajardo's character or whatever, who's the colonel, who just has a sort of brief cameo in this, and he's like, "So who do you vote for? Do you vote for the establishment asshole guy that everyone's rebelling against, or do you vote do you vote for the rebellion?" And one guy comes up and is like, "I don't vote for the current guy in power," and he immediately just gets walked over to a wall that already has blood stains all over it and gets shot. And I mean, he has the courage of his convictions. Like, he knew what he was getting into. He must have knew what he was getting into.
Oh yeah, he's not sure he's not blind.
But then he still says, it's like, "I'm not voting for your piece of shit fucking president," and he gets shot for it, And then that's where you get introduced to Tomas Milian's character, who fucking stabs him with a saber.
At first he comes off with such a feeble bootlicking prick, because he's just like laughing at the fact the guy died in a weird way, shining his boots. "Oh yeah, no problem. I'll shine your boots," And then as soon as he kind of laughs in his face and blows the champagne, next thing you know, the saber comes out and he fucking stabs him through the... Like, did not expect that. But then at the same time, then he just stands there like, what the fuck am I supposed to do now? Like, he had it was kind of really weird.
That's another thing. Like, Tomas Milian's character is like Tony Masante's character in The Mercenary, but he gets much more mature much quicker. Like, he goes through the sort of, "Oh, the revolution, of course, and here's the spoils of war. I get to, like, rip the lead actress's top off and, have my way with her and shit." And although he learns his lessons much quicker than Tony Masante does.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, he also seems like he's trying to fill those shoes even though he can't, too. I'm going to be the dictator now in charge of this little but
he's not the natural leader that Tony Masante's character is in The Mercenary. That's kind of the difference.
Mm-hmm.
I will say also, I was noticing, and then I went on IMDb, and it's like anachronisms. When you rip the top open of the lead actress, you can see her bikini tan outline. It's like, yeah, it's like that was something I noticed. It's like, yeah, that's 1960s or 70s. Yeah. That's not 1910 or whatever this is.
Yeah. I was gonna say, what the fuck? I was like, I thought there was all nude beaches down there.
Yeah. I'm glad I'm not the only pervert on the internet. Thank you, IMDb.
You're never the only pervert on the internet.
Yeah, I know.
We are many. We are legion.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yes.
I've been on the internet for almost 25 years. I can guarantee you.
Yeah, I didn't notice that, so good on you. But of course, this is my first time watching.
Also, throwback to the last episode, Daniel. There is a three-way joke here with at one point with Franco Nero and the lead chick and Tony. Tomas Milian comes in.
If you want to join, come on.
You want to join in? Yeah.
Like, I'm down for this. Yeah, no. I'm liking it. Franco Nero, bisexual Franco Nero is my favorite Franco Nero.
I loved it when they were with the hooker, and he's like, "But isn't this your girl?" He goes, in Sweden we don't care about those things.
Oh yeah, she's fucking great, and she's like just kind of forgotten by the film.
Yeah.
That's what as soon as I said it,
I love that she like she's behind bars and she like hands him the champagne, and he like
Karen Schubert as Zarya. Who was sort of at this point, she was just sort of do a job or whatever, actress, just doing all kinds of shit at the point, like exploitation genre films and all that stuff, and she became a porn actress around 1985.
Thank God.
I think we should definitely look her up as well and check out some, because I know she did some like Emmanuel films. I was looking her up and I'm like, that sounds that sounds fun.
I was looking at her filmography there
I was
too.
checking out her filmography there.
Yes.
And just seeing what else might be interesting.
I have a lot of Emmanuel films. I still need to get Emmanuel in the USA just for the barn scene. But anyway, yeah.
Oh, the one where she strokes a horse off.
Yeah, I gotta get that. That's definitely. Yeah. If I'm gonna own bestiality, at least to have it fucking legal bestiality, if you know what I mean. There you go.
At least
it needs to be that high class 70s bestiality.
That's shit. Oh, actually, I have to get the 1975 La Bête from France too. I need to get that.
Oh my god!
I don't know if you've seen that film, but that's definitely one to keep.
I've heard of the reputation.
The Beast.
Yeah, I know of it. But yeah,
I did like we're gonna set the place on fire, and then I'm gonna come in as the as part of the fire brigade, and we're gonna not really care that the whole place is burning down. And
I love
we're just gonna burn the village down just to get this one guy.
Well, it was a great plan because they had strategic bundles and wagons of hay just laying around the place.
Yeah, no, it was great.
Fire.
Yeah,
I loved it. I didn't see any livestock, but we have all this fucking hay. Beautiful.
Yeah, I really love that. There's one moment where a match goes into the hay, and then immediately from a completely separate location, the thing goes woof. Definitely no. There's some accelerant there or something.
Well, there was no gasoline in the filming of this film.
Yeah, no, none at all.
Not at all. Nope.
Also, I'd just like to say I've got Jack Palance's Wikipedia page open right now, and the photo of Jack Palance on his Wikipedia page is Palance in 53, and it's him staring daggers into the camera in this very impressive gaze, he looks like he's about to play Frankenstein's monster, and everyone should go check that out.
Did you see him in as Dracula?
Oh yeah,
Franco's Dracula, very good. Like it a lot.
Not Franco's Dracula. No,
not Franco Dracula. No, it's that was Christopher Lee with a mustache. The Dracula when he plays in Palance plays Dracula. I like that.
Yeah, it was one of the the many 70s Draculas of. I think actually it was probably, if I'm not mistaken, maybe the same year as Frank Langella's Dracula as well.
And then of course, one of the things when I grew up that was big was City Slickers.
Yeah, we mentioned them last episode too.
Yeah,
where
I actually really like those movies because.
Well, no, he played a character named Curly, and in The Mercenary, he played a character named Curly.
Oh no shit! Oh, yeah, that's awesome. Unfortunately, I was gonna do that and join you guys on that episode, but my link wouldn't play because of copyright regions. So
yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, sorry about that. But I was looking forward to it. But I'm glad I'm getting on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in a TV version of Dracula, Bram Stoker's Dracula from 1973.
Oh, was it actually a TV movie? That's what I have? Oh, I didn't know it was on TV.
There's been
good,
several TV movie versions of Dracula too. Yeah, and series and shit.
I like that. I like when they I like it when the Federale, the Companeros, actually comes up with the great idea of let's dress as fucking monks and put them in a casket and stuff.
Yeah.
At first I thought he was coming up with this harebrained scheme that they were oh, go fuck yourself. But then they ended up doing it. And I was like, works for me. He's got cholera. Yeah, no, I like that. He's like, oh no, don't open it up. He's got a cholera. Fuck that. And then John comes in and says, burn everybody. And burn the guys them all. Too.
Yeah, they'd love to die with their brother.
Yeah. I was like, oh fuck. This is sick. Next thing you know, railgun out of nowhere. Lucky there was a railgun in that truck.
Franco Nero, whenever he's in a Corbucci movie, he's about 2 steps away from grabbing a really oversized bullshit machine gun that doesn't make sense in the real world. It just happens.
Yeah. We all know that in Italy, in Italian to English, Nero means Gatling gun. So there you go.
I think it should, at the very least.
It should.
Franco Nero's picture should be right next to
a Gatling gun. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Mowing pictures.
So, do we have any final thoughts other than this movie's awesome?
movie's pretty awesome. Yeah,
it's pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah, I like it better than the Mercenary, honestly, because even though it is kind of like a streamlined,
it's a lot more fun than the Mercenary. It's a lot.
It
more
is.
Fun than the
It just is. It just goes. It's about as long. It's longer than the Mercenary, actually. I think.
Yeah, well, that's weird, but it seems like if it's more streamlined,
but
maybe
it just goes.
Maybe it cut off some of that dead weight that maybe the Mercenary had. That
well, here's the thing too. The version I gave you, Paul.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what version you watched, Daniel. Did you download from Burlust or?
No, it's on Amazon Prime. So
you got the subtitles, right?
I got it with subtitles. Yeah. So you know,
so the version.
Well, I mean, it's English dubbed, but it did have subtitles. So
right. So the version I gave to Paul was the full restored version, except it didn't have subtitles. So there was several parts that was just strictly Italian because they didn't have the English dubs available on that footage. So here's the thing: either that footage was like legit lost, the dubs in some weird circumstance, or that was stuff that was actually cut from the English version of the film.
So how long is the version you gave to him?
2 hours and 3 minutes.
Yeah, no.
So yours is like 9 minutes longer than mine was an hour 54.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but the thing is, the version I gave Paul is the complete full version. It's got the re-added Italian stuff that doesn't have English dubs, so it's supposed to have the subtitles, but the stuff I gave Paul didn't have the subtitles. Like I said, I kind of think like some of that stuff's pretty fucking crucial to the film, whereas that can't be an English cut. Like this movie would look terrible if that was the English cut, if those scenes were taken out. So I don't know what the fuck happened to some of the footage of this or whatever at the time, but
well, I may have watched the version without the. I mean, I was not following the plot in so much detail, so you know, I'm definitely gonna look up the 2 hour version.
Oh well, well, here's the thing. This has the same structure as the Mercenary, the version we watched. I don't know if it's the same version you watched, where it starts in the present day and then goes to flashback.
In fact, again, it was kind of one of those Once Upon a Time in the West kind of moments where it starts off at a train station, you know,
right?
But it doesn't spend like 9 minutes watching people shoot flies, you know.
Oh well, then no, maybe you did see the cut version because the version that's me and Paul watched. It starts off with our female lead like running to the duel between Nero and Tomas Milian. And then it goes to the flashback. It goes for like there's a voiceover from Nero saying, "Oh, I met Vasco in this," and
yeah, no, it definitely starts that way. And then you know, so I'm not sure what was missing. I'll have to, we'll have to check that out. Professional podcasters would have worked this out in advance.
Well, I was trying to do some research on this, but it's like I got conflicting shit.
No, the version I watched was an hour 54 minutes, and it's the version that's streaming on Amazon Prime. So,
okay, so yeah, the one we watched is like just near or over 2 hours or something like that.
That's why I was trying to figure out some of the translations of what was going on because there was no subtitles, so I wanted to see what they were talking about. But
like you still get the gist of it. It's like who are you voting for? This guy. Who are you voting for? This guy. Oh, you're getting shot. It's like that kind of stuff. Like sort of broad strokes. It's like okay, I get it. And then at the end, Franco Nero, vamos a matar Companeros. You know what he's fucking saying, and he's riding back to.
Yeah, it doesn't translate the song. It just sort of translates the But anyway, yeah, no, that's interesting. I'll definitely check that out, and we will see.
Yeah,
we ran into this with one of the Poliziotteschi's, which I sourced a version on Rare Lust, and it's like, oh yeah, it's got like big chunks of it where it's just in Italian, and who knows, and like that doesn't even have the kind of that one didn't even have the kind of exposure this one did, where like you can Google this and find like a plot summary. No. Like, a lot of these things are like, well, hope you spoke Italian in the 70s because otherwise you're fucked.
Yeah. So box office for this, 1.4 billion lira. So did pretty well for,
Yeah, $28 American.
Yep.
I mean, that's Avengers money right there.
Yeah. DVD info. So initially there was an Anchor Bay version of this, which I think has been improved by Blue Underground. They originally just redid the Anchor Bay thing because they got all the rights to most of their films. But then they produced another version in 2014 and 2015, and that would be the DVD and the Blu-ray versions that apparently have an improved English track. So maybe that's what you saw, Daniel.
Could be,
because the one I have is obviously the fucking just the repurposed Anchor Bay thing, and that's on a triple feature.
A lot of times the ones that are on like Amazon Prime or whatever, whatever print that they had kind of easily available. So it's usually, but it's complicated with these kind of things because it's just a lot of times they'll actually have a free version that's like better quality than the version you rent because the version they rent is from some other rights holder.
Right.
And so like sometimes I just found it was on Prime and I hit play on it and didn't think too much about it. But it's kind of one of those kind of situations.
So the one I have is actually on a 3-pack. It's the Blue Underground's sort of midnight movies triple feature, and it's got 4 of the Apocalypse and Run Man Run. And those are, I think they're all just Blue Underground re-releases of the Anchor Bay versions. And then Blue Underground went on to do a re-upped version of this. So that might be the one that you got that has like the improved language tracks and stuff, maybe. I don't know.
Right.
But
no, the version I watched looked really good, but it was entirely, like, I didn't have any...
Just entirely English.
Just entirely in English, yeah. And it was definitely an hour 54 because I was watching the slider bar, so I know how long it was. So
all right.
Yeah.
Cool. I have no trivia for this, so we're good on that.
This whole podcast was trivia for this ultimately.
I think it was kind of honestly my only trivia was the improvision from Tomas Milian where he was like fucking with Nero. That's basically it.
Loved it.
Yeah. So Paul, tell people where they can find you on the internet. Tell them about your awesome horror movie podcast and all that good stuff.
Okay. Well, you can find me on PA Brew News, and we do on the PA Brew News site every other Friday and Sunday. We do the Maniacs Meet podcast where we do random horror films, and on Sunday we do Slasher Sundays, PA Brew News. You can check me out on Instagram, oil_paintings_by_P Ramali, or on Facebook, Oil Paintings by P Ramali. Blah, 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 blah.
Sweet. And I will... I keep forgetting to do it, but I'll eventually have those links up on the sidebar of our actual Podbean site so people can get easy access to all that stuff. So there you go. Daniel, where can people find you on the interwebs?
I am on Twitter at Daniel E. Harper. You can find me there. I do various things. Mostly the big other thing that I do is talk about really terrible people who say really terrible things about people of color who want to kill them all. Modern day Nazis. I do that. I do a podcast. I don't speak German, talking about those people. So, yeah, if you like this podcast and also hate Nazis, go check that out.
Yeah, there you go. And you can find us at tmbdos.podbean.com, where you can find our Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and Facebook links. Join the Facebook group. This is the best place to get in touch with us, find out what's going on with the podcast, and that's the best way, leave comments where we will read them and leave suggestions for films to watch. And we often do it. We're getting much better at fulfilling requests these days. So you have a good chance. You want us to review fucking some obscure, weird film from Europe from 1972 that no one's ever heard about. There's a good chance that if you request it, we'll jump on it. So there you go.
Yeah.
So I was thinking next week we have a couple films left on our list here for our Westerns. We have The Ballad of Buster Scruggs from 2018. We have Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid from 1973. And we have Soldier Blue from 1970. So what do we want to do?
I feel like we could be available. So
I feel like we should end it on Ballad of Buster Scruggs. I feel like that's where we should end the series.
So let's try for Soldier Blue, I think.
Okay,
maybe.
Yeah. That one might be a little bit tougher. I'm gonna have to see what we can do to source that. But other than that, so
if you can't source that, then we'll do Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid, and that'll be
because I know that one's sourceable. So
yeah, that one's sourceable, and that one's probably more work too because there's like several versions of it. I'm gonna have to do a lot of shit on that one, but I would love to do it at the same time.
Okay.
So I'm not complaining.
Well, we will do one or the other. I will, Lee. I will let you know whether I can get Soldier Blue easily within the next hour or two. So
all right, cool. Again, go to our Facebook group, join it up. You'll find out what's coming up next time. And Thank you, everyone, for listening. Thank you guys for joining us and joining me. It's always great to have Paul and Dan at the same time. Three-way, can't beat that. And
way to go. Yep.
Yeah.
Way to go. Yep.
And we'll see you guys again when we see you. Goodbye. You have been listening to They Must Be Destroyed on Sight. For other episodes, our links to Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and our Facebook group, as well as links to podcasts and websites of similar interest, please visit us at tmbdos.podbean.com. Thank you. Drive through.